Hey there, it's Scott, startatherapypractice.com, and today I want to go over your ideal client. So what I've been doing is I've been reading, I'm always reading books. So what we're going to go over is how to determine your ideal client, and here's where I'm getting my information from, and you should buy this book. It's called Duct Tape Marketing by John Jantsch. It's hard to say. But he's also got a podcast called Duct Tape Marketing. You should listen to it. So it's sort of an older book, but it's still very relevant. So the chapter that I want to go over today is your ideal client. All right? I've got some notes. And so I'm just filtering this through the lens of a therapy private practice owner, okay? So I'm going to try to do this every Thursday, 6 o'clock. And I hope you'll join me and ask some questions, all right? Now, I do have, in the Academy of Private Practice, some tools on how to determine who your ideal client is, so to hone down on those demographics. So the information from this book is going to help us also. And what you should be doing is you should be constantly thinking about and researching who your ideal client is. Who are they? The book suggests that you do a physical description. I do that also in the Academy. What do they want? How they buy? The best way to communicate with them? What's some of that information? And you should be writing this down. You should be doing this on purpose. And of course, throughout the day, you're going to think more and more about this. You should. And you want to make sure that you write it down, whether it's on your smartphone. I use Evernote. You've probably heard me sing the accolades of Evernote before. I love Evernote. Evernote is a good way to categorize information. So you could put an ideal client note in there and start putting information in there about their physical description. Are they male, female? How old are they? Do they have kids? I mean, if I treat kids, so hopefully they have kids. My ideal client is not the child. That's not who I'm marketing to. I'm marketing to the caregiver, whether it be a parent, a grandparent, or maybe even a daycare, a preschool, or a public school. That is part of my ideal client demographic. And so if I'm marketing, like recently, actually it's going on right now, I just created a Facebook ad for an online developmental screening tool that I created, and I used Google Forms with that. I have a lesson on that in the Academy also on how to do that. But what Facebook allows you to do is to really hone in on the demographic of your ideal client. So my ideal client for that ad is somebody within a 25-mile radius from my private practice, from my clinic, and then female, because let's face it, females really are the caretakers of small children. And the age that I determined was 22 to 55, because they could be grandparents, but most of them are going to be younger. And in my geographical area, it's not heavily populated. If I was in a really big city, I might decrease the age on that in order to decrease as big a spread as far as how many people I wanted to reach, because that's going to cost me more money for that advertising. And probably more of the demographic I'm targeting is age 22 to 40. That's kind of the age that I want to. They have small children, so that's who I want to target. How do they buy? So are they buying online? Probably my demographic that I'm targeting is, but if your demographic is older adults, they're probably going to Walmart or they're going to the grocery store, not so much online shopping. Although my grandparents, they're pretty savvy online. My grandma is. The best way to communicate with them, is that email? Is that a Facebook ad? Is that Google AdWords? Is that a direct mail out? So write these things down. So what are their interests? If I'm targeting parents of young children, their interest might be toys or caregiving. They might be interested in what preschool is important or is good in their area. But they might be also interested in other things like shopping. They might be into going to flea markets. So really think about your demographic and what they possibly are into, and write all that information down. You cannot have too much information on what your ideal client might be doing, might look like, and what they're doing during the day, where they live. All the information that you can think of. And, like I said, what are their interests? What are their problems? What keeps them up at night? Really think on that. And that is what you're going to be marketing to solve their problem. I mean, the whole thing with marketing is find a problem and solve it. So that's what you want to think about with your ideal client. So the book says to use a client profile tracker, and that's basically what I've been talking about, is writing it down. You can use a spreadsheet for this. In the Academy of Private Practice, I developed a spreadsheet for the members there to use for their ideal client, and I put some ideas in there just to kind of get their brain juices flowing. On this one, they have a tracker here on page 16. If you have any questions, type them in there. On page 16 is where he mentions the client profile tracker. So you can read about that there, and he kind of breaks that down on how you should set that up. It's pretty good information. You should make a list of potential prospects, potential clients. If you have names, emails of those potential clients, write those down, put them in a spreadsheet, put them in a Word or Google Doc, and start categorizing potential clients, but also categorize potential referral sources. So I've done that in Evernote as far as who potentially could refer a client to me, and I categorize them. And you could also do it in a spreadsheet, and then you can contact them on a fairly regular basis, once a week, once every other week. Check in with them. So once you have clients, you want to ask them questions and start figuring them out, and see if you can notice patterns within all of your clients. If they're all going to the same church, if they're all shopping at the same shopping center, if they're all buying the same clothes, whatever, write all that down. That's going to help you figure out who your ideal client is. Notice, going to the next page here. And so look for common characteristics. Are they all female? What groups do they belong to? Are they members of, the local Optimist Club? Are they members of the local gym? Do their kids all go to the same gymnastics place, to the same dance place? Are they all going to the same play facilities? Write all that down. I mean, it's gonna really paint the picture of your ideal client. Determine, once you have that information down, then you want to determine if your ideal target market is big enough to support a potential therapy practice. If you're not in practice yet and you're just kind of doing some market analysis, it's really one of the first things that you should do is to create that ideal client profile. And you really want to paint the picture in your mind of what that person looks like. You should see, the color of their eyes, their nose, what clothes they're wearing. Paint that picture in a very descriptive way, and then determine if there's enough of that type of person in your geographical area to sustain a private practice. So writing all that down is going to help. So be sure to do that. I want you to connect with me on the social media, definitely on Facebook. You're already here, so I appreciate you listening. Go to startatherapypractice.com. I've got some free forms over there. I've got a free client tracking spreadsheet. I've got a podcast and a lot of free stuff over there. I've got an ebook on how to start and run a therapy practice, and the Academy of Private Practice is the best tool I have for you. It's a membership site, video-based e-course, all the downloads and resources that I can put in one spot. But what's really cool is once a month we have a mastermind session with the members of the Academy of Private Practice. We get together and we help solve each other's problems. So it's not just me helping you with private practice, it's the other members who have a private practice helping each of us. It's so cool. I love it. And we have a community forum over there where we can ask questions and get answers from each other. So I appreciate you listening in. I will continue next week. I'll show the book again because I'm going to read another chapter, and I'll filter this through the eyes of a private practice owner. It's so helpful. I mean, I've got tons of books. We'll just keep going and we'll learn from each other, and we'll learn from these great books, and we'll put it through the filter of a private practice owner. All right? So thanks. Be sure to leave a comment or a question below, and email me, scott@startatherapypractice.com, if you have any questions. And until next time, Godspeed to you and your private practice. Click and finish.